Yeah, welcome back to the channel. It's going to be a little bit of a different video topic. I wanted to talk a little bit about the idea of humans traversing space and going from one planet to another planet or from one galaxy to another galaxy. You know, with Elon Musk and what he's doing at SpaceX, I think that work is absolutely amazing. And I think it'd be amazing for us to be able to get on a rocket ship and go to Mars or beyond. But I also wonder if that's really what the future of space travel looks like. Are we really going to spend a lot of our resources building giant rockets, putting animals and humans on them, taxiing people from, one part of the solar system to another part of the solar system in that way? Is that going to be something that we do in the short term? Is it something that we're going to do, for 100 years or a million years, at the end of human civilization or far, far into the future? Is that the way that we're really going to get around and navigate the stars? I kind of have my doubts there. I think if you look at the progression of technology, the way that we're headed, it seems unlikely to me that we're just going to build massive rocket ships far into the future and people are just going to board them every now and then and take them like airplanes. I think that is important for the short and medium term where, okay, we're on Earth right now, we're in the Milky Way galaxy. We need a quick redundancy. We need to build a backup of all the genetic information and thoughts that we have on Earth somewhere else, just in case something happens to Earth. But that is kind of assuming civilization goes on for a very, very long time, that's probably a small portion of our existence where, we're actually going to get on a big rocket and go from one place to another place physically. As I said, I think Mars makes a lot of sense. Definitely maybe even beyond Mars, maybe to other solar systems. But I think beyond that, what we're really going to see is virtual reality, the ability for us to disassociate our physical presence from our sensory perception, meaning we could be in our living rooms and experience what Mars looks like through a computer, a system that makes us feel like we're on Mars without actually being there. Everything in our brains is electrical. That means that theoretically everything could be hacked with a computer. And this is something that Elon Musk is also working on with Neuralink, right? But, when I touch the steering wheel or I drink a glass of water or, I hear birds chirping or the water lapping in the lake in front of me, those are all turned into electrical signals. Molecules interact with other molecules to create waves that then I perceive that my nerves feel and then transmit to my brain. But we could actually short circuit that, right? Molecules never had to interact with each other for this electrical connection to my brain to exist. Meaning we could synthetically create that electrical stimuli that makes my brain feel like, oh, I heard, water splashing over there, or I interacted with the steering wheel. And I think that's much more likely, actually. In the future, yes, there's this problem of physical, redundancy. But beyond that, I don't think that most people are going to get on rockets and travel around the universe like we're going to be nomads. I think it's much more likely that we're going to teleport our presence there. We're going to be able to see, feel, hear things on Mars or a very far away planet as if we were really there, but from the comforts of our own homes. And of course, it's going to take a long time for us to get to that point, but I do think it's coming. And I think that makes a lot more sense than, herding a bunch of humans onto rockets and flying for a couple months somewhere and, figuring out how to cryogenically freeze us or whatever. I think when we have mastery over atoms and we can recreate them synthetically through a digital environment, it's unlikely that we're going to go through all the trouble of actually moving atoms from one place to another place using rocket fuel propelled spaceships. That just seems very low tech to me. It's kind of like, like the Flintstones car, to get from one place to another place, you have to take the Flintstones car somewhere. I think that's just probably not the future. I'm not talking about the immediate future, but the far future. And I also think, what is it going to look like for us to actually back up human civilization? Is the only way for us to back up our human collective consciousness to build human populations and all of these other planets? And are we going to get there using spaceships? I also kind of have my doubts about that. I definitely think that's a great plan and something that we're going to do in the short term. Until our technology catches up, it's impossible for us to bottle consciousness, to bottle the complexity and culture that is the human world and put it all onto a CD that is a video or movies or photos, right? Those are digital media that is not high enough fidelity to capture the complexities of human civilization right now. But if we fast forward into the future, if we're talking about a video game where you can experience life, well, not necessarily that you can play it, but that this simulation exists with enough complexity to truly mimic human civilization, and if it's AI and it can actually build and improve on itself, that seems to me like, you know, the ultimate way to back up human civilization, to create a mini simulation of it that runs in perpetuity by miniaturizing, you know, all the complexity of Earth into a tiny computer, and then dispersing that throughout, you know, space, basically making billions and billions and billions of copy of, you know, human existence, these simulations, distributing them into space, empowering them off of distant stars. That seems much more like the end goal if what we really want to do is, you know, back up human life, make sure that our existence is never forgotten in the universe. It seems more like we're going to miniaturize and disperse more like pollen than, you know, go from spaceship to spaceship, from planet to planet, and back up that way. Of course, a lot of things have to happen. You know, our technology needs to be good enough where we can actually create the simulation and have it high enough fidelity to match our current existence. That seems to make a lot more sense to me than, as I said, you know, getting on a giant, you know, tin can and going from planet to planet. And honestly, there's no telling if that's what we're in right now. You know, the simulation theory says if technology increases, simulations, video games are going to get more and more lifelike. At the limit, it should be almost nearly indistinguishable from real life. You know, assuming civilization doesn't end, we should be able to achieve that. So the probability that we're actually in a simulation right now is incredibly high, right? It's almost impossible for us not to be in a simulation if, you know, the fact that we're living right now is independent probabilistically from other simulations, and that intelligent life in the universe doesn't just end at certain points in time and there's this great filter. So my thoughts are probably we are in a simulation, and probably really advanced species do not go from place to place, and they're not really even so concerned about transporting their actual physical bodies from place to place in space travel. You know, they're probably much more likely to just transport their perception and experience and knowledge from place to place. And that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, having to move actual human beings from place to place. So that's my thoughts. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Let me know in the comment section if you like this video or any other videos that I have. Please consider subscribing. I appreciate your support. See you in the next video. Bye.